Welcome on MGSS YouTube channel. I, Nakant Misra, going to discuss about cube roots and hope you have to enjoy this session. First of all, I am going to discuss about the definition of the cube root. And regarding the definition of the cube root, you must know that cube root of a given real number is that number whose cube is equal to the given real number. Simply you can just say that cube root of A is equal to B. Cube root of A equals B when if A is equal to B cube. If A can be represented in the form of cube of some number, then it is known as cube root of that number. Then you can just find out the cube of that number. For example, 8, you know that simply it can be expressed as 2 cube, and therefore you can just find out cube root of 8 is equal to 2. Similarly, you can just see that in the case of 64, you know very well that 64 can be expressed as 4 cube, because if you multiply 4 3 times, 4 into 4 into 4, then you know that it is equal to 64. Therefore, cube root of 64 is equal to 4. Now, I will discuss that how you find out cube root of any number which has been given. Now, my dear student, I have to discuss about that. How can you solve cube root? Actually, my dear student, you have to solve by using factorization method, and you have already learned in a previous chapter how to get a factorization. Now, you can just see that I have just taken two different examples. Cube root of 125 and cube root of, you can just see that ones, tens, 100, 1000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh, 11 lakh, 57,625. These two are numbers. At first you have to do prime factorization, and you have did well by this way, and it is very easy for you. In some books it has been given that one more step while doing factorization, 7 and 1 at last. Similarly, you can just use 5 and the remainder that you quotient you get, that is 1. So factorization can be done. Either you left up to here or you go further one more step to do so. But to solve this question, therefore cube root 125 can be written as cube root of 5 into 5 into 5, and its result is actually 5. Because in case of square, you know that you have to just group of 2, and in this you have to just make the group of 3 different numbers, and you have just know that there is a 1 cube that is possible, 5 cube, and in this 5 cube you have to take 1, 5. Similarly, in the second question you can just see that cube root of 11 lakhs 57,625 when expressed, then you know that 5 is 3 times 5 into 5 into 5, and 3 is 3 times 3 into 3 into 3, and 7 is actually 3 times 7 into 7 into 7. Actually, it should be written under the cube root. And so, simply you can just write down 5 into 3 into 7, because in this question you have to just make the group of 3 numbers, and you have to just pick out one from each, and what you get 5 into 3 into 7. and what will be the final result? And final result is 105. So cube root of 11,057,625 is equal to 105. By this process, by this prime factorization, you are able to find out cube root of any number. Actually, in this type of question, what you have to just do that. Actually, it can be done by two ways. First way is that actually it is a type of the question, cube root of A and cube root of B. It can be represented as cube root of A into B. Actually, this form. This question is given in this form. First process is that you have to multiply, and the product that is obtained, you have to solve the product of that number. However, in the second option, you have to do the factorize separately of these two numbers A as well as B, and then you have to try to make the group of 3 of that prime numbers that you get by the factorization. I have just used the second option, and there is a number cube root under 27 multiplied by 343. Actually, two numbers were given, 27 and 343. And at first I have to do prime factorization, and I have just done 27, then I get 3 into 3 into 3. You can just ask the question that why 1 is not added, because 1 is not the prime number, and this is why you have to write 3 into 3 into 3. And one thing also, 1 is the common factor to all. This is why 1 is generally ignored. Second one is, you can just see that 343, and it can be written as 7 into 7 into 7. And this is why you can just write that cube root, at first you have to write for cube root of 27, 3 into 3 into 3, and for 343, 7 into 7 into 7. My dear student, after that you have to just pick out one from these 3, 1 3 and 1 7 from this 3 7, then the result is 3 into 7, and finally result is 21. By this way you are able to solve such type of question. Sometimes the question has been given in this form also, cube root of A upon B. If the question has been given in such case, or it has been given cube root of A upon cube root of B. When the number has been given in this way, then you have to convert cube root of A upon B, and after that you have to do prime factorization of A as well as prime factorization of B, and after that if any term is cancelled, then you can cancel, and after that you can just find out the cube root of that given number. Similarly, you can just see that in some books it can be just write, or you can say that in the another way to write this one. In some books it has been just mentioned that when there is a cube root has been given, then suppose that this is your question. So in second way, after doing the prime factorization, you have written in this way, cube 7 cube and 3 cube and in this way you have to write, and after that 1 3 you have to just pick, and 1 7 from this, and that is result is 21. So either you solve by this way or this way, no problem, but it is necessary that you have to convert at first in the product of the primes, and after that you have to make the group, and among this group you have to just select one. If any questions in the higher classes, when you just go and you have just noticed that there is a number which is not can be made in the group of 3, then how can you find out? Suppose that you have given square root, cube root of 16, and if you do prime factorization, then you get 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. By making the cubes, you can just see that 2 cubes and 1 2 is left. Then what will be its result? What is its simplest form? Actually 1 2 is selected, and final result is 2 cube root 2, because this 2 is already remain in the cubes. Hope you have to enjoy this session and it will be beneficial for you. So keep watching MDSS YouTube channel, and if you have any sort of problem, then you mention your comment in comment box. Thanks.